busy, but we can always share some ditties. It's just a cup in time. This song doesn't have to run. Life's all of us, not every moment we can be feeling fine. I wanna share a moment, just a second if you will, maybe even a cup of thrill. We could share this performance. It's tea time, come sit with me.
Oh, welcome guys, Miss Liz here. Yeah, you got a little sneak peek of Miss Liz, how she looks today. We had some glitches just before the intro goes on, but I want to thank everybody for tuning in and joining Miss Liz today on Tea Time. But before we get started, you guys know how Miss Liz rolls. We're going to get you over to all the platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all those good platforms, LinkedIn, and then check out those podcast apps because Miss Liz is on all of those podcast apps out there. So Spotify, Listen Notes, Podbean, just a few, and check out babyboomers.org because Miss Liz is partnered with them as well. And they have some incredible podcasters over there as well, because I like to give some shout outs to all the other ones out there to check. Because if something's not on Tea Time that you don't like, you can always check out another podcast that's over on babyboomers.org. But I have the incredible Denise Cesare in the house, and we're going to be talking about her book today, but we're going to talk about a second book. So once we get in here, we're going to talk about that second book as well. But today her tea is, and we're serving, is never, never, ever give up. Remember, you are important in this moment and always look for a glimmer of light. That is the tea we are serving in this house today. So let's get started with the disclaimer and then a beautiful intro, and then we'll get Denise in here and we'll serve that tea to all of you guys. Disclaimer for Miss Liz's Tea Time live show. Miss Liz's Tea Time is a global platform dedicating to sharing real life stories, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations that inspire awareness, healing, and connection. I'm Miss Liz is going live using StreamYard. Before leaving a comment during the live broadcast, please grant StreamYard permission to display your name at StreamYard.com. Please be advised that all the content brought forward during any Tea Time show is presented in good faith. However, discussions may include opinions, beliefs, and perspectives that do not necessarily represent the views of Miss Liz or the Tea Time platform. Information shared by guests is based on their own experiences and is perceived to be accurate at the given time of airing. All guests, viewers, and participants are responsible for using their own judgment when considering any action or decision that may relate to these discussions. Some episodes may cover sensitive topics, including but not limited to trauma, abuse, grief, mental health, and other emotionally triggering subjects. Listeners and viewers' discretion is strongly advised. Tea Time with Miss Liz is an open discussion forum designed to offer insight, inspire awareness, and create connection. It is not a substitute for professional, medical, legal, or therapeutical advice. If you require professional support, please seek assistance from qualified professionals or trusted resources in your area. If you have any questions regarding this disclaimer or the content of the discussion, you are welcome to contact me, aka Miss Liz, directly at my email at bookingmissliz@gmail.com or visit my link tree at Miss Liz's Tea Time. By choosing to participate in, comment on, or view these live shows, you acknowledge and accept this disclaimer. Your participation is entirely voluntary. I, Miss Liz, welcomes you to join the conversation with an open heart, and if at any time you feel this platform is not right for you, I respect your decision and wishes and welcome you back whenever you are ready. Tea Time with Miss Liz is serving truth and awareness one cup at a time. Well, welcome to Tea Time with Miss Liz, where every story reminds us that even in life's hardest moments, there is purpose, there is growth, and there is a voice waiting to be heard. Today's guest brings us a story that truly embodies resilience, faith, and the power of never giving up. Please join me in welcoming Denise Cesare, published author, keynote speaker, and social emotional learning specialist who has dedicated over 25 years to supporting children, families, schools, and communities. Denise's journey is one that stops you in your tracks. In 2006, after a major car accident, she lost her voice due to a condition called Spasmodic Dysphonia. For many, that could have been the end of the story, but for Denise, it became the beginning of something deeper. Through treatment, faith, and unwavering perseverance, she regained her voice and chose to use it to uplift, educate, and bring awareness to emotional well-being, mindfulness, and kindness. Her book, Moments in Motion with Love, was born during a time when the world needed it most. helping children and adults reconnect with themselves, with nature, and with the understanding that every moment holds value. Her tea sparks straight to the heart. Never, never, ever give up. Remember, you are so important in this moment, and always look for a glimmer of light. So grab your cup and lead in. Today's tea time is about resilience, presence, and the power of finding your voice, even after it feels lost. Let me get Denise in here and let's spill some tea.
Hi.
Welcome, Denise.
Thank you, Miss Liz. I have my tea, so we can have a lot of tea time.
As we were saying before we went live, I have my tea, but it's in a coffee cup, guys. Miss Liz is just all over the place today.
Mine's in a coffee cup and it's iced tea.
Right? You never know what's in the cup, and that's what we saw at this table.
Exactly.
So, Denise, who were you as a little girl, and who are you now as a grown woman?
So as a little girl, I was a dreamer. I was a Disney-loving, wonderful, dreaming young lady that I guess I became the dreamer that I always wanted to be. It took a long time, but here I am.
Oh, did I lose you for a second?
Oh, yeah.
Glitches today. StreamYard, you're going to have an issue with Miss Liz. Denise, who are you today?
Oh, so I am an author. I am a motivational speaker, thought leader, all on being self-love, love of each other, and love of our planet. And I am doing great work with my book and with everything else. I was a speech language pathologist for over 25 years, but now I'm taking it one step further and bringing all my knowledge and expertise to the world.
Do you want to tell us what a speech pathologist is?
Pathologist does, yes. And ironically, when you introed me, I have a voice disorder, and so I'm a speech language pathologist that has a voice disorder. So a speech language pathologist helps people, first of all, with, of course, articulation and different ways of, speaking or fluency, but also we work on language development and also students with special needs or autistic population and anyone who may have auditory processing difficulties, a whole gamut of language intervention, as well as social emotional interactions.
Oh, I just learned something new from you. And that's why I have different guests on Tea Time, because I learned too.
Yes.
So Denise, let's talk about this book. I'm going to pull up your book and we're going to talk about this book, and then we're going to talk about the incredible book that is behind you, that is a new book. So we are going to talk about moments in motions first with love. So tell us a little bit about the cover and how it came together and what they can find in that book.
Okay, so the cover is very special, but I'll tell you how the book came to be first. So the book came to be during COVID. I was virtually online with my students, and March, April, by May, I saw the disconnect from them not having social bonding in school. I saw how saddened they were. And I went to sleep that night and prayed for something to help them. And I actually woke up with the book. Some people may not believe me, but I really did. I had woken up my husband and go, wake up, I wrote a book. He's like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Like, as usual, I'm always doing something. Wake up. And then he listened carefully. And then he goes, can you read that again? And surely he said, oh. And then I was thinking, because of all the things I went through with losing my voice and not being able to figure out myself, I did go through a lot. So I thought I would write way back when a book about helping just people self-help. But then this came to me in my sleep. So I called the publisher and said, wait, we have something different to do. And then the final person who really solidified that I should put it into the world, my son was in college and they were on lockdown as well. My students were so disheartened, but then my son too. But when I read it to him, he cried. And I knew that I unlocked something. So this book came out during COVID, but the cover is very special because if you look, it's a kaleidoscope heart, right? And each page of the book is represented in that heart. So that was very intricate. I wanted to be able to see into the book before you even dove into it.
I like it. And I noticed I on the website, because I did some deep research on you, Denise, I noticed that you have children's artwork with this heart, and it on top you have I am. And
Oh.
do they do the I am with images or words? How does that work?
So what happens, because, so this book kind of took on a life of its own, like I told you, it came to me, right? Well, then it kind of took on a life of its own. I have developed from this book as an educator 3 different programs: mind, body, and spirit. The mind is all about the affirmations, like the I am, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. The movement, I have created a yoga movement. Every page has a movement. So I have a video that's coming out soon. And then music, how music heals you. So that's the mind, the body, and the spirit. But the I am in the book, so I have the actual heart in the book where they could write into it how they're feeling about each page. But also what I've done, in the book, the essence is about me telling you how wonderful you are. And I believe in you. But if you don't believe in yourself, it's not really going to stick. So I have a belief poem at the end that everybody has to say to themselves, and we'll say it together if you want at the end. I don't know if you want me to do it now, but we could do whatever you want. But there's a poem for you to believe in yourself. So that's all about the I am.
Yeah, let's do that at the closing. Well, that'll wrap it right up, right? We get everybody at the end of the show, right? Miss Liz, like you guys to stay with us the whole hour. Like,
I love it. I love it.
So Denise, losing your voice in 2006 was life-changing. What did that experience teach you about your identity and purpose?
So yes, losing my voice, that is, and I do tell you, really couldn't shut me up even without a voice. I don't know, I sound silly, but it was hard to really keep me down, even though the voice was really, you couldn't hear me. So for 5 years, I had no voice. But then I had to wrap my head around that I have a disability, and I worked with children with disabilities. So instead of feeling sorry for myself, I got I got the empowered to get myself to get through. But also at the time I had a 6-year-old, so I couldn't be crying. I couldn't be sad for myself because I had to raise a child. And that was something that I always thought that was the motivation. But now when I have come full circle with all of this, I realize it was more about my self-love for myself that really got me through it. I thought it was about my son, but no, it was me really doing things and using tools to self-love. So that's what I have to tell you about that.
At any age, self-love is something that we all, look in the mirror and say, what, who are we? What are we doing? Like, are we here for the kids? Are we here for the grandkids? Are we here for others? And then we look in that mirror and we say, oh, this is our story. This is where we need to get moving.
Exactly.
So Denise, is that what you did? Kind of looked in the mirror, kind of looked within yourself and said, oh, this is my journey.
So it's funny that you say look in the mirror. So, I had to go. I worked through without a voice, because then I realized I needed accommodations and I needed them to help me do what I was doing. And I would have to wake up every day and look at myself in the mirror. It's funny that you say that. I used to say, you're going to be able to do this. I would smile at myself and I would say, okay, you could do this. Because it was very tough, because, people didn't really treat me all that well, because they didn't, when people don't understand things, they act different towards you.
Yeah.
When you're not embracing all and including all. So it came to be that I would have to build myself up. I would smile all day. I'd smile until I went to sleep, and then I'd cry. Crying wasn't of the weakness. Crying was the release to get all that out and then start again. So for 5 years, I had to do that, because the no voice was very challenging. There were times that it was very dark and you feel like you want to give up, but I would not give up no matter what. I had to show myself that I was worthy of being there. And then when I decided to do the injections, because I had to do a lot of research, I'm a speech pathologist. I couldn't just do it without all of my research with what I know. So finally, I found the right doctor. Prior to that, I kind of came in contact with people who aren't for me. This is an important thing for the audience. Trust your instinct. Don't just jump into something. Believe what you feel and then go with that. So finally, I found the right doctor, and now I go for injections every 4 months or so to be able to speak.
So every 4 months you get injections, Denise?
Mm-hmm. Since 2011.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So what do these injections actually do?
So the injections are Botox injections. So the condition I have, spasmodic dysphonia, is a spasming of your vocal folds. So what the Botox does is paralyze them. So then the air, we speak on respiration. So if we paralyze them, they won't spasm, and then the air can come out.
Oh,
It's interesting, right?
yeah, really interesting.
I'm the doctor because I know about it, but I'm also the patient. So I kind of go back and forth in these roles. I'm like, oh, I understand that, but oh, I live it. It's interesting because I live it.
Well, Denise, let's get into that because you got both sides of the world, right? You teach it and then you're also living it. So how does that help as well?
Well, that helps because you kind of could really, empathy, sympathy, but I could really empathize because I do live it, and I do know the struggles that come with someone who either has a vocal disorder or someone that has a disability. Mine is kind of invisible, and there's so many people walking around with invisible disabilities that people do not know, and they're ready to judge. So I think I became more in tune with myself and with others because of that.
And that's why I love getting these invisible stories out there, because people judge what they don't know, right? What they don't understand. And people are so fast to just judge a person without even knowing the story behind that person.
Exactly. Even I know this is going to sound heavy, but even colleagues, I'm not saying that they were my friends or they didn't know me personally. They would even do things like right in front of me, say, you still can't. She would say, like, talk over my head and say, she still can't talk. I looked at her, I said, but I can hear you. Hello.
Yeah, like, hello, I'm still in the room.
I can hear you. I'm standing here. I can hear you. Hello. Yeah. But imagine a person who wasn't able to express that, how they would feel if they didn't even, like, I felt upset about it, but I was able to look at her and go, hello, I could hear you. But what if someone couldn't do that? How would they feel inside? And how much damage can people do to somebody if they don't even know what they're talking about?
Absolutely. Well, Denise, what did it feel like to regain your voice, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually?
So it was immediate too. I remember up to that point. I even know the date, August 11th. I think it was August 10th, 2011. It was such a defining moment. And when it came, because people take for granted their voice, right? We don't realize how these things, these senses that we have, if you lose one, some can become more in tune, but losing one is almost devastating. And when I got it back, it came back immediately. I don't think I even believed it. I was like, is this real?
I can hear myself.
I was overjoyed. People were hearing me. And then I was like, it was like almost like a dream at first. But I always remember this because up until then, I would shy away from going into a drive-through because I couldn't project the sound to it. And when I would do it, I would get so frustrated that I'd just drive up to the front and say, this is what I want, or I'd write it down. It just became so much that I had someone behind me who was a principal in my son's school, and she loved me so much, and she knew the struggles with the voice. And she saw me in the drive-through, talking in the drive-through, and she was clapping, almost cheering me on. And that was like a defining moment of, yeah, I did it.
Absolutely.
It was fun.
I am so glad that you found Teatime, because these are the stories I want out there, the invisible stories that people do not understand, but they get to understand through a cup of tea. And I want to get into your tea because your tea is really powerful. I like it because I like that you put the double never. Like, it's just never give up. It's never ever give up. And remember who you are, so important in this moment, and always look for a glimmer of light. Let's talk about that tea and why you gave me that tea.
I give you that tea because I also said it to my son. Winston Churchill said it, never, 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 never give up. But it stuck with me and through my life. And then as I went through this, I just fast forwarded and kept projecting it onto my son and onto anybody that would listen to me. I'm not giving up. Never, never give up. But what I want to say about the glimmer of light, the little glimmer, because sometimes it feels very dark. And for the people out there that feel dark, please don't let it fool you. Even if you look, it could be this big. You have to find it in order to know that you're important and to see yourself. So definitely, I want everyone out there to know that you're important, and seeing that glimmer. It could be this big, but you have to find it. And then if you find it, it will get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then there's days when you don't, it's a little again, but you have to look for it.
Yeah. I love the word glimmer, because you don't hear that word in everyday speech, right? In conversations and that. And when I got that word glimmer of light, I was just like, oh, that's just like a little spark. It's like a fire, right? When you start a fire and it's got that little spark, yep. And you just got to keep blowing on it, and you got to keep just taking the time and the patience to get it to go. We have a question here for you, Denise, that came in, and it says, what a powerful story. How did Denise stay so strong through it all?
Well, I'm going to say, yes, I stayed strong, but I identified when I was feeling upset. You cannot be strong all the time. So you have to feel the feels to move forward. So I want everyone to know crying isn't a terrible thing. Crying is a release. I say it's releasing goodness from your soul to let it out. So let out the anxiety or whatever you feel about it. But I did stay strong with giving myself coping mechanisms, and I did do certain things like music healed me. I talk about that. And just doing things grounding and making myself feel that I belonged in this world. Because there was times that people made me think I shouldn't be doing what I was doing. And that was very devastating. And to be able to push through that does make me courageous. But at that time, I didn't feel like I had so much courage.
And I'm so glad that you say that, Denise, because so many of us think that we have to stay strong, right? We have to put on this brave face. But you know what? There are hard days out there, and there are dark times. And, we got to find that little glimmer, and we got to just keep moving forward. But we got to go with the feelings. We got to release. I tell my kids this all the time. I cry all the time, kids. And they're like, Mom, don't cry. And I'm just like, crying is good. Crying is releasing. It lets it out, all the stuff that we hold in. Losing your voice, did you feel like you would ever get your voice back, Denise?
So 5 years, right? Imagine that. So did I think I was ever going to get it back? I think it became a point in time where I was like, I guess I have to accept this, right? I did come to some acceptance. And I got used to being able to modify what I did, my job. I got accommodations to do certain things. My son understood me no matter what. My husband, on the other hand, I had to if I was trying to call him, I would have to clap or something. I did whatever I had to do. But my thing is, I was able to come to some acceptance. But I have a lot of work to do. So getting my voice back 5 years later was a gift that I don't take for granted, that I go for the injections. And I'm fortunate that they do work for me, because they don't always work the same for everyone, because it's a very unknown condition. So I am fortunate, and I know I have a lot of work to do. That's why I got it back.
Well, Denise, you lost your voice through a car accident, correct?
Well, okay. So I have a condition that they don't know what causes it, but the car accident triggered that trauma. Okay. Because the seatbelt was across my neck. So they say it's neurological, but I think there was some trigger between the car accident, and it was very, causation. It happened right after it.
Did you have any trouble speaking as a child?
No, not at all.
Not at all, right?
Not at all. And the funny thing about it is I used to scream a lot. That's funny. You made me rewind that. I used to, I don't know why, that came to me. My mother's like, oh, calm down, stop screaming. But what I will say about it is when I went to be diagnosed, they would tell me I had everything under the sun except for my condition. You have asthma, acid reflux, you have anxiety. And I'm like, people, I'm a speech pathologist. I can't get the words out. This has nothing to do with anything else you're talking about. So that's interesting that they wanted me, not that they wanted me, they didn't realize what I had. So I almost diagnosed myself.
We get to a point where doctors keep telling us, oh, it's this, it's this, it's this, but we know our bodies and we know that there's something not right, right?
Exactly.
Well, we have a question here, and it says, you often speak about the importance of present moment. Why is that so powerful in healing?
It's so powerful because even myself, I have to practice mindfulness and being present, because if you're not in the moment, how many things pass you by? How many things are you not grasping onto? And that moment can just be something that just takes you to the next level. Really, living in the moment is hard. We're always thinking 10 steps ahead. But if you take a minute to really hone in on the moment, so much joy and so much love could come through you that you could give to yourself. So that is really it. It's all about really for yourself taking a moment so you could capture what's around you as it goes on.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to pop up your book again for the people that are just jumping in now so we can show them this amazing book. Can you tell us a little bit about the story without giving it away so people can go and grab a copy?
Of course. So the book takes you on a journey, a mindful journey through nature. And it's all about love of yourself, love of each other, and love of the planet. But I have to tell you, some people say, oh, is this a children's book? Well, of course, I'm an educator, and there are some components in the back with coloring and different things. But why can't adults color? But my thing is, I had someone who purchased the book say to me, your book is an anti-anxiety drug without the drugs. I went, wow, that was something. So it's poetry in motion. It takes you on a very soothing journey through nature. And then, of course, the believe at the end. I'm believing how important you are in this moment.
And we're gonna do the I am at the end of the show. So you guys got to stay tuned to the end of the show.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. We're going to talk about the book that is behind you now. If you just want to point to it, tell us how that one came.
I do. Okay. So now, I'm an educator. So all these years, teachers and educators love books. But do we ever really think we're going to become an author? Not really. So 26 years ago, when my son was born, of course, I was an educator back then, but when he was born, I don't know, I have one son, but I don't know. I used to look at him, I used to go, oh, I love you more than chocolate. And I said, oh my goodness, that's the title of a book, but never just went blue, right? But I love chocolate so much. So me saying that was a big thing, right? But then fast forward to me writing the book, Moments, Emotion, and Love. You notice the theme is all love, right?
Yeah.
So I said, okay, now I'm a published author. I think that book has to come out of my archived mind and become what it's supposed to be way back then. So the muse for it, of course, is my son. And if you look at it, the cute little characters are me and Daniel. And so it's a sweet journey. So it's really it's me and Daniel, but it's for everyone because it doesn't just talk about us. It talks about monthly sweetness, like going through the calendar. So I'm a speech pathologist, so sequencing and memory means something to me. This book could become like a memory game, what happened in January. And most of my students never really knew the first month of the year. They thought it was September when school started. I'm like, lovelies, no, January 1st. Happy New Year. So Happy New Year is January. So now this book takes them on the journey from January to December through chocolate, through the sweet chocolate moments. And the good thing about it is that it's not about the chocolate. It's about, I love you more than something.
Oh, I like that message.
So, yes, I may love chocolate, but I love you more than that special thing to me because you're so extra special.
I
So
like it.
you can replace it with anything that you love. I was just with someone the other day that did a podcast with me. And she goes, "Oh, mozzarella." I'm like, "Yes, you could say I love you more than mozzarella. That is true." I said, of course you can. But my point to get into that is the sweetness of life and letting someone know, right, how important you are, and this, right, I talked about in this moment, letting someone know you love them more than.
You know, and it's like the old saying, right? I love you to the moon and back.
Okay, yes. I used to say that to my son too, yeah, because I do love him that much. Yep. To the moon and back and beyond. So,
So
right?
Denise,
Yeah.
go ahead.
To infinity and beyond and all of that, right? So that's the message, to love someone so much more than. Yep.
So Denise, what kind is your favorite chocolate?
Oh, I love dark chocolate. I love, give me anything with chocolate on it, chocolate with strawberries. And then, the funny thing is that guess who loves chocolate too? My son. He's a chocolate lover. So it's just a sweet homage to the love that I have for him, and just moving, for everyone that has love for someone, So yes, I love dark chocolate. I have to say, I do have like different companies of chocolate that I like, but we're going to have to talk about that. But I love dark chocolate. I don't really I'm not a chocolate snob. I love chocolate.
I like it. I'm not a chocolate snob.
Give me chocolate, I won't turn it down. I may like one better than the other, but I won't turn it down.
And for all the chocolate lovers out there, share your favorite chocolate, what you guys like eating, because this is what it is, right? We get the engagement going, we get the conversation going. And what is your favorite chocolate? And what moment? Like, does it bring special moments to you? Because we go back to the moments, right?
Exactly. See, you connected it, that the moments that every month. So January, I'll give you a little snippet of the, January, sipping hot cocoa, right? On a winter day. So we kind of bring you into the seasons too. It's almost like time stamp that you go through the seasons of life, because life is about seasons, right? And I created it, and then we had a Zoom, like a virtual Zoom, and my son was on it. I put little Easter eggs in it because I didn't make it just about him. I made it universal, but there are Easter eggs and there are little hidden messages, so he knows it was something that we did together. So then it's just an amazing. Like I said, it keeps going, and then it gives you seasons, and then it gives you different types of chocolate. You could tell what the chocolate is, even though I don't name it, right? And I love her. I do. My original, of course, I always love Hershey Kisses. That just because Hershey Kisses, just because. So I always did love them. And I like
that you brought in the Easter eggs, because you know what? We put little Easter eggs into all the tea times. So if you guys are paying attention, you guys will see the little Easter eggs that Miss Liz has hidden if you're paying attention, but you have to pay attention. So I want to talk to you a little bit about, what do I have here? No, the I am we're doing at the end of the show. Yeah. Magnificently Made is another book that you have. Let's talk about that one as well.
Oh, that is amazing. So it was a collaborative effort with 33 women. And the book is all about healing and powerful stories on women who share their stories to empower others, to give them some. But my story is like little vignettes on how music saved me. And my title of my chapter is Let It Be. And it takes you through, because that music did save me through that dark time. I didn't talk about this before. Different songs would either, if it evoked crying, that was good, because that it made me let it release. Or if there was a song that made me powerful, like the fight song, or thank you for making me a fighter. So in work, because I was really not treated well at work. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to try to be gentle about that, but it was very almost bullied as a adult, but I didn't let that stop me. So some songs would actually get me out of that. Like, what am I going to do? But it would make me powerful by listening to the song. Or I tell my readers or listeners to take the lyrics and read them. If a song hits you, read that journaling of the songwriter and see how powerful it may make you feel, even more powerful when you read the words.
I always say this, the words tell us how we're feeling. I always tell my kids, if you want to know how mom is, how mom's feeling, I'll give you a song. Listen to it.
Yeah, we're the same, because oh my goodness, I can't believe that, because that is true, because the words, if you really, sometimes people are singing songs, right?
Yeah.
Liz, listen to this. I did a talk one time about putting a little love in your heart. And I actually read the words to the audience. And they said to me, they said, I can't believe this. I never even knew those words. And it just changed the whole meaning of everything. And I said, well, that's why the power of the lyrics and the power. So the music may soothe you and make you feel something, but the power behind the words are something to be said. And even with my students, I used to do this with them, because for those who couldn't read, let's just be honest, some kids have different needs and they can't read. This would bring them to a different level. I played the song and then I read it back to them. I'd let them look at the words and listen and kind of have like almost reinforcement of what it said with listening. So it was very, very powerful. And even my course that I created with the book, I have the 3 programs. We make a playlist of songs that even on my bookmark for the chocolate, I have sweet song playlists. I love music so much. I think in my other life I was a musician or something with music. What happened, I told them, think about things that make you feel powerful. Now the young kids do have playlists, but they didn't take this one step further. Like, what makes you feel powerful? What makes you think about a time when you were young? What makes you think about a time what makes you remember someone who was important to you in your life? So all of these little prompts together to think of songs that brought them joy, or really brought them, maybe when you're angry, what do you listen to when you're angry? Because you're allowed to be angry. You can have your feelings, but listen to the song, get it out and be done. So that's what we would talk about together with the song list.
Losing your voice, it's almost like losing the lyrics, right?
Exactly. Oh my goodness. Yes. Losing your story. You can't tell your story then, you'd have to write it down, but telling your story is so much more. Words are powerful, but being able to really record it or to recite your words is important.
I with my mental illness that I have, conversion disorder, I lose my voice sometimes and I can't speak, or I speak like I'm drunk, right? And for me, I listen to music and it's like the story, the lyrics are telling me, you can get on. Like the fight song. The fight song is one of my favorites as well, because just keep fighting. It's just a hard day, but we're going to get through it. You're going to get through this.
Yes.
And as you were sharing, Denise, I was like, the lyrics were her words that she couldn't get out. And by reading those lyrics to the children and to others, they're seeing the story through music. Through the sound.
Yes. And I did explain this. I talked to someone about it, how, your body feels the vibrations of the music. So music is art and it's also science. There's 2 components to music. It's not just the artistic component, which is beautiful. There's the scientific component of the beats and the intonations and the decibels and what can make you relaxed. There is so much to be said about music, healing you with all the cranial, your nerves and the nerves in the brain, how it flows through your body. There's certain things that it taps into. Music taps into a different area that lights up in your brain. I studied that as a speech pathologist,
And we're going to get everybody to look at music differently today through this.
Yes, we are. Yes. So excited. That makes me so happy.
Everybody's going out and reading lyrics and then listen to the sound.
Yes,
reverse. Like reverse the way that you think of music, right? Reverse the way you think of life. And, you mentioned getting bullied as an adult. We don't talk about this enough. People talk about children getting bullied, but what about the adults getting bullied? Uh, did you stand up to these bullies, or did you just kind of, you are who you are and I'm going to let you find your own way? Or
So, you have to pick your battles, right? I had big battles to choose, but like I told you about the colleagues standing right in front of my face. I didn't let it get away with it. I'm like, but I can hear you. Um, but I am a fighter, so no one really got past me. I didn't let that happen. I could have just, what they tried to do. I want people to imagine this, and this is why people shouldn't give up. Imagine in a world that they took all that away from me, and I wouldn't have been able to touch the lives that I touched in school, and taking that away from me, regardless of how my voice sounded, I could still do my job in a different way. Give me accommodations, give me maybe a microphone. I would whisper a little bit. Not that whispering is really not good for your voice, but any way that I could figure out, give me a voice to text. And at that time, when I lost my voice, there was no texting. Now there's so much for people to use for that. But back then, there was no text. The cell phones just, they were coming to, but the texting was not until, further in. But I was lucky then to be able to have different programs, or let me do it a different way. Let me show them, let them listen to music. Let me do it different, but I could still get to the same result.
Yeah.
But if they would have been successful in the bullying, maybe I wouldn't be here, right? Maybe I wouldn't have been able to do what I do. And I want anybody listening that ever wants to give up is, don't let someone take your light away. We talked about the glimmer, because look at how much more you have more to do in the world. You have more to do, and don't let anybody take that away from you.
Absolutely. And it's a powerful message. Don't let anybody take your story away from you, take your voice away from you. 5 years you were voiceless, but you still heard them,
Yeah, and they still heard me no matter what. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sometimes the voice did not sound great, but I would push it out to really really show that you're not gonna shut me up. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Well, we have a question that just came in, and it says, why is social emotional learning so critical for children today?
Oh, that's a big one. And so social emotional learning, people use that word all the time. But what does that really mean, right? What does social emotional learning mean? It's being able to feel your feelings, like we just said. It's being able to cope. It's being able to take a moment and just be, don't do anything. So the social emotional component is how you cope, and how getting the tools. You could talk about, if we don't have tools, we can't cope. We need tools to cope. So the social emotional component is key. Being able to communicate, parents being showing that, I love you more than that's important for your kids to get that message, for the children to have that message, or that the moments matter, or that you matter. These things are all components of social emotional learning, but we need to give them the tools at an early age to be able to be successful. And I mean successful socially, emotionally, being able to be a whole human being.
So Denise, what tools did you have
to get through with what I was going through?
Yeah.
I kind of, I did study a lot. So I have to say I was fortunate for my studies. I had the knowledge. That's another thing. Knowledge is power, right? So I knew one of my tools was the music. We talked about that. One of my tools was definitely taking a minute in the morning to set my moment, to know that I may be experiencing a bad day, but I'm going to smile through it. Maybe later I cry, but I'm going to, because smiling, there's a study about smiling that it creates endorphins in your brain that make you feel calmer and happier. But even if it's for a moment, it could get you through something. So grounding is another important thing, feeling your feet on the ground, being in nature. Nature is such an amazing healer, being either at the beach, standing on the ground. Even in your house, take your shoes off and make your feet feel the ground. Breathing. All of those important tools are mindful tools, but they go hand in hand with social emotional learning.
So Denise, we have a question here. Are you going to be on injections for the rest of your life?
Yes. Unless they come up with some cure, yes.
Another question, how can parents and educators better support children who are struggling emotionally?
Okay, so yeah, first of all, awareness is key, that you are aware that they're struggling, because sometimes parents, not that they don't know, but they're not seeing what's happening at school. You have to have a conversation, conversation with them. How are you feeling today? What happened in school? Or they really have to check in. They may not tell you right away, but if you keep on it or have them listen to a song, why did that song make you feel like that? Really tap into how they feel. So those are key things to communicating, to really understand what's going on and helping them see themselves and help them find their self-love. Because when you have self-love, then you can love others. And then you are stronger when you have self-love, because you loving yourself brings you forward to loving others and loving our planet. It was just Earth Day the other day. We have to love the whole picture, right? It's not just us. We're a whole world together.
That's one thing I haven't heard anybody say is loving ourselves brings us closer to others. We have to love ourselves first in order to love others. So I wanted, we have a question here. What inspired moment in motion with love, and what do you hope the readers will take away from this book?
Well, of course, what inspired it was that I was on, it must have been in me all the time though, right? Miss Liz, it had to have been in me every moment. But think about this. I was virtually online with these beautiful souls, right? And I was their caregiver during that time together. And I did it in school. Of course, that was my job, but this was another platform of how to work around it, live, virtually, and speech in New York City. They made us just go live in a minute without even being able to figure it out. So I could add something in. The great thing about it was at times I got to meet with parents, which was a blessing, because I was able to explain everything I was doing in detail, which you don't get to do in school because they're in school, right? So I think that was the blessing. But the backbone of the book was them. And of course, my son, because, he's the first student, for me in the life to bring into the world, right? But all of my students were the foundation of that book. And that book bridges all, like I just said, self-love, love of each other, and love of our planet in one big, beautiful poetry emotion.
I love it. And I seen that there was a little girl that said, where is she? Maddie. I got a Maddie here.
Oh, yes.
Maddie, reading together is really important to her.
Wow. It's funny because reading, like I said, reading this book is a simple, like sometimes people cannot read, right? So we want to capture everyone. So this is an easy read, but it's also very powerful.
And I think it's important that we read together, read to our children, our grandchildren, sit down and just have adult read together. Like take a book and read together. One page at a time, right? You read the first page, I read the second page. Couples could do it too, right? It's a bonding time.
You're so smart, Miss Liz. We're better than an audio book, right? We're reading together. We're making our own audio book.
Right?
Right?
Like there's different ways of connecting with each other, that it doesn't have to be what everybody else is doing. Just do your own way and bring in the, difference. I did this with my granddaughter. I always try to find unique ways. And she's always like, Nanny, how did you do that? And I'd be like, oh, Nanny thought outside of the box. You got to think outside of the box, little one. Yes. So, but Maddie, she said that she loved reading together. And then you have on your website, how can we be brave? What is that about?
Well, brave is different for everyone, right? It depends on your circumstance, what you're going through. But being brave is just, in the book, I'm going to read. Can I read you something? So in my book,
Absolutely.
because I'm an educator, in the back of the book, there's a glossary because words have meaning. There's a glossary in the back of the book, and it says, I'm going to read it to you straight from the book. Brave, perhaps a little bit daring. A person who is brave faces dangerous or difficult situations with courage.
I love it. Well, I want to do some lightning bolt questions now. So just really quick answers for these. Okay. And then we're going to do the I am, and we're going to wrap it up with a final message from you, Denise, because time is just flying by. We're almost at the end of the show. So first one I have for you is one word that describes your journey.
Fierce.
Ooh, why?
Because I had to push through, and I had to be fierce, and I had to have movement.
I wasn't expecting that word. Thanks. Wow. Fierce.
Fierce, because I had to keep fierce. I just had to be fierce. Yep.
Present or purpose? Which leads first?
Present.
Why?
Because if you're present, you'll know what your purpose is.
Oh, I love that answer. What is your glimmer of light today, Denise?
Being with you, Miss Liz.
Oh, well, look at that. I love it. And favorite moment from your book?
Which one?
We'll go with the moments in.
Okay. So you're asking me for say this again, the favorite
moment in that book.
The trees have wisdom. They have been here a long time. So many moments they have seen, listen.
This book sounds interesting, guys. You guys want to go and get a copy there. We're going to give you all that information in a few seconds here. If your life were a message, what would it say?
If I were a message, what would it say? I believe in you and you believe in me.
Now, Denise, where can people get these books?
So I would like to tell you, yes, my book, well, there's a pre-order for I Love You More Than Chocolate at the moment. It's a special edition, hardcover special, so it's a pre-order at the moment. Moments, yes, you could get it everywhere, but I would suggest, because I want to give the love, I want to autograph it, so I would go to my website, DeniseCesare.com, because to me, it's the connection matters more than the sale.
I'm like that with you. The connection.
I want to give you my love. So in order to get my love, I could autograph it with love. If you buy it from Amazon, that's great if you don't know me, but you know me now, where I'm in with Miss Liz, so you know me. So now you know me, and you need to get a message from me. Amazon is beautiful if you don't know me, and Barnes & Noble if you don't know me. But if you know me, you need to go to my website.
Well, you can all reach out to Denise, and you'll get a special message. That's, I really believe in that as well, right? Connection over sales. Yes. People before profit. Let's just keep going. Let's just keep sharing this tea. This tea is amazing. I'm enjoying this conversation altogether. We have a question that just came in is, what do you want every person listening today to remember about themselves?
That you are so important in this moment.
Now, what is your final message to everybody out there today, Denise?
So do you want to do the I am at the moment?
We're going to do the I am after the final message.
So the final message is the world needs love, and love is what will save. Self-love will save all of us. So I want you to believe that love is the answer, even though it sounds so simplistic. It really is. And please know that.
And now we got a special treat for all of you guys that stayed here the whole hour. We're going to do the I am. So Denise, the floor is yours.
Okay. So in the book, I tell the reader how special you are and that I believe in you. So I'm going to want you, Ms. Liz, to repeat after me. I'm going to say the words and you're going to say them after me. So the title of the poem is Believe.
Believe.
I am loved.
I am loved.
I am light.
I am light.
I am courage.
I am courage.
I am bright.
I am bright.
I am brave.
I am brave.
I am so important in this moment.
I am so important in this moment.
And you are.
Thank you so much. You know, Denise, for all the listeners out there, just take that moment and just say those I ams, because when you say I am, it is a strong affirmation that you believe in yourself, that you give yourself courage and hope. Denise, do you have any events or anything that you would like to tell the viewers out there that they should check out, or any new books that are coming besides I Love Chocolate?
So I Love You More Than Chocolate, like I said, it's a pre-sale, so it's coming out soon. I am doing events in Florida in June, at the end of June. I'm going to be at a book lovers convention, and then I'm also going to be at a bookstore. So check out everything on my Instagram. Look for me, Denise.Cesare on Instagram, and see where I am. This past weekend, I was in Cocoa Beach, Florida.
And you also mentioned earlier that you have some workshops going on.
I have the workshops. We are trying to put them into different places, different schools. I'm trying to do the yoga motions at different libraries, all different. Wherever I can be, I'm going to be.
Well, see, she's all over the place, guys. This is how we do it. We get everybody out there. I'm just going to see what else I have on my board here so we can make this 1 hour. I want to get into your favorite colors, because you gave me many shades of purple. Why purple?
I love purple so much. I think why I love purple is, it, like you said, there's many shades of purple, but it's a very royal color. It's royal. It makes me feel very, it could be light and airy, but it could be royal, right? I just think purple just makes me happy.
Does Purple Rain make you happy?
That's funny that you just said that, because I was going to say Purple Rain. I love Prince. Oh my goodness, that man was a genius. Anyway, yeah, Purple Rain is, yeah. Let's go listen to those lyrics. Let's go read those. It's probably deep.
It's a deep song. If you really read the lyrics, it is a deep song. It's got a good sound and a good rhythm to it, but the lyrics, guys, we got to start reading the lyrics. You got to start reading the stories, reading
All these musicians are going to love us, Miss Liz. We want them to read the lyrics. It's their poetry. I say it's their journal writings.
Oh, I say that too, because I write songs and I'm just like, it's telling a story in a different way, because I do songwriting and poetry in that as well. And there's a difference. I can tell the difference between my poetry and the songwriting. The songwriting is kind of like a deeper ditch, if that makes any sense. Like I'm getting deeper, right? Like
deep, yeah.
I'm getting the weeds and I'm getting the rocks and the sand and everything, where the poetry is just a layer on top of the water. So,
I like that. I love that.
But this was an incredible tea time. I want to thank everybody for joining in and bringing your comments and questions, because I could not do that without all of you guys. We will be back at 7 p.m. with a returning guest, James Bowell. He'll be in and he'll be talking about his new book and all that good stuff. And we're going to talk about Doctor Who. So all the Doctor Who lovers out there, come and check that out. But we're just going to do a wrap up of what today's tea time was. And then I will see everybody at 7 p.m. with the next tea time. What a deep and moving and inspiring conversation. Denise, thank you for reminding us that even when life takes something from us, it can also reveal something greater within us. Your journey shows us that resilience is not just about surviving, it is about choosing to rise again and again. This afternoon, we were reminded that every moment matters, that even in uncertainty, there is always a glimmer of light if we are willing to look for it. Your work, your voice, and your story brings comfort, guidance, and hope to so many, especially in a world where emotional support and understandings are needed more than ever. Here is something to carry with you after this tea time. What if this moment right now is more important than your allowing yourself to believe? Because healing does not happen somewhere far away. It begins right here in the moment we choose to be present. Until our next cup, share, keep believing, keep showing up, and keep remembering you are so important in this moment. And I'll see everybody at 7 p.m.